Hey, everybody. Today, I guess the first thing to point out is while you're taking notes, I would recommend printing out this PDF that I attached to the lesson. If you can't print it out, that's okay. You can still do your notes on a separate sheet of paper. You just might need to copy some more stuff. But yes, if you have a printer, print this thing out, do the notes along with me on this piece of paper. Okay, so what we're getting into today is what are called transformations. Okay, chapter 2, by the way, moving on to chapter 2. Okay, but yeah, there are a few main types of transformations we're going to be looking at over the next week or two. And the first one we're going to be looking at today is what is called a translation. All right, and you'll get an idea of what that means. And then eventually we're going to be looking at reflections. And then eventually after that, we'll be looking at what are called rotations. Okay, but all three of those things are considered different transformations. So if you hear that word, that's what we're talking about. Okay, but yeah, today is all about translations. And I guess basically the easiest way to think about a translation is it's you sliding a object left and right or up and down. Okay, and that's kind of what it's all about. So let me show you what I mean. All right, so on your piece of paper here, hopefully you're able to print it out. We have our first graph. If you weren't able to print it out, again, that's okay. Just go ahead and draw this graph, a really simple one. Draw this picture on it, and we'll do this translation. Okay, so here is what this translation is asking us to do. It's saying to translate our polygon 3 units right and 5 units down. Okay, so the way we're going to do that is we're just going to do that individually with each point of this polygon, okay, this triangle. So let's start with, it doesn't matter which one you start with, but I'm going to start with this one here. And let's go ahead and move this thing 3 units right, 5 units down. Okay, so if I'm starting here, 3 units right would look like this, 1, 2, 3. And then 5 units down would look like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is where my U value would land after my translation. Okay, when you get new points after a translation, okay, this is how we're going to name them. I'm going to name this thing U, but I'm going to put this little symbol next to it that means prime, which just means it's the new U point. Okay, and yeah, this whole 3 unit right, 5 units down, we're doing this with all 3 of these points. All right, so I'm going to erase this because we don't need those little markers. That's just kind of me showing you. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that with N here. Again, we're going to go 3 units to the right and 5 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there is our new N point. So we're going to put N and then the little prime symbol next to it. Okay, and then same thing with S. We're going to go 3 units to the right and 5 units down and get our new S point, S prime. All right, after we translate our points, go ahead and connect the dots. Okay, and what you should see is the exact same shape, just translated 5 units right, or 3 units right, 5 units down. Okay, one thing I sometimes like to have people do is when you get your translation, maybe just kind of highlight it, like with your pencil. Oh, let me make that a little larger. Okay, you can just kind of shade it in a little bit just to make it obvious that, okay, this is my new one. Sometimes when you don't have different colors like I do, it's helpful. Okay, so that's kind of the basics. Let's keep going through this. Okay, so on this next one, I'm going to have you guys try this translation on your own. Okay, again, you can do it on the printed out piece of paper or on your separate. All right, and go ahead and translate this polygon here, 2 units left and 3 units up. Okay, go ahead and give it a try. Okay, so 2 units left, 3 units, sorry, 2 units left, 3 units up. All right, we're doing that with all 4 points here. It doesn't matter which one we start with. I'm going to start with I. Normally, I always start like the top left. Okay, so I'm going to go 2 units to the left, 3 units up, and there is my new I point, I prime. All right, and then same idea with the rest of these. So I'm going to go to H, 2 units left, 3 units up, There's H prime. N, 2 units left, 3 units up. There's N prime. And C, 2 units left, 3 units up. C prime. All right, and just like before, we should see the exact same shape when we connect these dots, just in a different spot. Okay, if the shape looked differently, like say for example, say on C, say I put C like, I don't know, like we'll just say it was here. All right, and we got a polygon that look like this. That looks kind of like this one, but we can kind of tell, oh yeah, that's just a little bit off. This line should have been a little bit steeper. Okay, so just look at your drawings, make sure they actually look nice. Let's see if I can get this back. No. All right, and again, if you could go ahead and just highlight that lightly, fill it in. So something like this. Oh man, that's bad. Let me get, my highlighter is too small. All right, so yeah, that is a translation. Here's the thing. The translations are not always written out in such plain English here. They don't always say 2 units left, 3 units up, written out as a sentence. Sometimes they do it in a shorthand, a mathematical sort of equation way. So let me show you what that looks like. All right, so on this next problem, it's asking us again to do a translation, but if you guys notice, it's written in kind of a strange way. Okay, here's basically what it's saying. This right here represents the original coordinates of these points. Okay, that's just, it represents that. What we are really worried about is what's happening to those original coordinates. Okay, they're saying that we're subtracting 5 units from our x value and adding 2 units to our y value. So here's something I want you to add to your notes is this little shorthand right here. All right, when we have numbers being added and subtracted to our x value, that's us moving right and left. Adding moves it to the right, subtracting moves it left. When we have numbers added and subtracted to our y value, adding moves it up, subtracting it moves down. Okay, so that right there is actually a really important thing, so get it. Okay, so here's what I know that this thing is saying now. If I'm subtracting 5 units, I know that means I'm going to the left 5, and if I'm adding 2 units to my y, that means I'm going up 2. Okay, and there it is. We can do the same thing that we were doing on our last problem. So let's go ahead and translate these things. I'm going to start with A. So to the left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 2. There's A prime. Okay, J to the left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 2. J prime. Q, left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 2. And D to the left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 2. Right, going through kind of quick. So, you know, if you need to pause the video to catch up with me, feel free. Okay, and there's my shape. Looks exactly the same, but yep, it's been translated. 5 units left, 2 units up. And let's go ahead and highlight it a little bit. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have you guys try one of these. No, we're not. We're gonna do one more together, another example. Okay, so let's do number 4 here. Okay, so same idea. They're you know, giving us the shorthand way of pointing this out. But if you guys notice, you know, we have a 2 being subtracted from x, so you might have an idea of what's going to happen with that. Nothing is being added or subtracted to the y. Okay, when that happens, that just means we're not moving up or down. So this problem is basically telling us that we are moving left 2 and up and down 0. Okay, I'll just say up 0. Okay, but it also means, you know, we're going down 0 as well. All right, so yeah, all of these just moving left 2 units. Okay, let's do it. So C to the left 2 units, so I'm going up and down 0. So there's C prime. D to the left 2, up and down 0. E to the left 2, up and down 0. Okay, go ahead and connect your dots, and same shape, different spot. Okay, now I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and try one of these out on your own. So on number 5, go ahead and try this problem out on your own, and we'll go over it in a second. Try it out. Alrighty. So on this problem, it looks like, well, I guess the first thing is, what does this mean here? Well, again, if we have a number being subtracted from x, that means we're going to the left. So this is telling me I'm going to the left 2. When we have a number added to the y, that means we are going up. So to the left 2, up 2. Okay, let's do it real quick. So a, left 2, up 2 is a prime. Sorry, I'm getting sloppy here. Let me try that again. Okay, b to the left 2, up 2, b prime, c, or not c, u, left 2, up 2, u prime, g, left 2, up 2, g prime. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to notice translations. They're really easy. Okay, the only weird part about translations is knowing how to read this shorthand. All right, but I think you guys are probably starting to get it. When in doubt, if you kind of forget the rules, just flip back to that example where we had the arrows pointing, left and right, up and down, and that'll be a nice little reminder if you need it. All right, let's keep moving. Okay, I have another one I want you guys to try out. So go ahead, try this one out where we have nothing being added to x and 4 being subtracted from y. Go ahead. Okay, so just like before, when a number is, or I guess when a variable has nothing being added or subtracted, that means we are not moving. So this thing means we are not moving left or right. So if you wanted to write out, you could say like left 0, okay, or you could say right 0, it doesn't really matter. Okay, but it looks like we have a number being subtracted from our y value. Remember, that means we're going down. So this is left 0, down 4. Okay, so let's try it out. I'm going to start with R. So left 0, I'm not moving left or right. I'm just going down 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's R prime. And same thing with the rest of them. Q, down 4 units. Q prime. And S, left 0, down 4. S prime. Okay, and then, you can fill it in. But let's keep moving along. I think you guys, got the idea there. Okay, now moving on to number 7 here. This is kind of switching gears a little bit, having us do actually the opposite of what we just did. Okay, if you guys notice, this is giving us the translation, and it's asking us to write the rule. Okay, when they say write the rule, what they mean is this thing. This is the rule to this translation, okay, from the last problem. Okay, that's what they want us to do here. So we just need to figure out what's going on. Okay, so let's just check one point. That's the nice thing about these problems. We don't have to check all of the points. One point is going to tell us what's happening here. Here's the big thing, especially on your piece of paper where you don't have color-coded shapes. You always want to make sure you're going from the original shape to your image. All right. This, by the way, I don't think I've used that word, but this is called the image. When we make a new shape after a translation, that's called the image. This other one is technically called the pre-image, but I like to use the word original just because I think it makes more sense. So original to the image. Okay, let's use L as our guide. Let's see what happens. Looks like we're going to the right 1, 2, 3, 4 units, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. Okay, so to the right 4, down 7. Here's how we need to write the rule. Just like we saw on the other examples, we need to start with this that represents the original points, have an arrow, and then say what's happening to our x and our y. Okay, so we're just going to say, okay, the original coordinates are turning into this. Okay, and normally I like to do this. I like to say, okay, something's going to happen to x, comma, something's going to happen to y, and then I'll fill that in. Okay, here's what I noticed. If we're going to the right 4 units, I know that means we're adding a number to x. We're adding 4 to x, right? So there is this part, adding 4 to our x value. If we're going down, I think, what was it, 7 units? That means we are subtracting 7 from our y value. Okay, and that is the rule. That's what they're looking for. Okay, so not too shabby. You only need to check one point and its image, so that's kind of nice. Okay, so on your own, go ahead and try one of these out. Write out that rule just like I did, and see how you're doing. Go ahead. Okay, So here's one thing I'm hoping you noticed. The original shape is this one, and the image is this one. Oops, this one. Okay, there's the original, there's the image. So when we go to figure out what's going on, we need to go from the original to the image, not the image to the original. If you went left to right, you're going to get the wrong answer. Okay, so let's go ahead and check it out. I'm going to choose to use y and its image. Okay, when we are figuring out where it's going, we want to go left and right first to find our x value, and then up and down. Okay, so looks like I'm going to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units, and then I'm going up 2 units. Okay, so to the left 6, up 2. Okay, now I can write my rule. That means the original coordinates are turning into, okay, I just kind of like to make my little outline first. If I'm going to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units, I know that means I'm subtracting 6 from x. If I'm going up 2 units, I know that means I'm adding 2 to the y. Okay, and there it is. That's my rule. Okay, if you did x plus 6 and y minus 2, you did the opposite. You went from the image, you probably went like this and then down, and you went from the image to the original. Just always check to make sure. If it's not color coded, that's why these little symbols are so important. That's how I know this is the image and this is the original. Okay, so that's what you're really looking for. All right, we're getting close to the end of this. The last thing here is basically having us do everything. Okay, they want us to put on the points of the original shape and then do a translation. All right, so let's try this out together. All right, so it's kind of out of order with how they're giving you this information. We want to focus on these points first because we want to get them onto the graph to then do our translation. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. It looks like W is going to be at 2, -4. So starting in the center here, whenever we plot points, we start in the center. We're going to +2 on the X, down to -4 on the Y. Okay, there's W. Okay, next one, H is at +5 on the X, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down to -3 on the Y. H. And M, +3 on the X, -5 on the Y. All right, so there we go. Let's go ahead and connect the dots here. Lines going through my letters, that's okay. Okay, so there is my original. Now let's do the rule here. Okay, -2 to the x, +5 to the y. It's always good to just kind of write out, remind yourself, okay, if I'm subtracting from the x, that means I'm going in the left direction 2 units. If I'm adding to the y, that means I'm going up 5 units. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that with all 3 of these points. I'm going to start with h. So to the left 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's h prime. W, left 2, up 5. W prime. And M, left 2, up 5. There's M prime. Okay, so yeah, not a whole lot different from those first couple examples. They just needed us to get the original shape onto it. But that's really simple. We know how to plot points, right? All right, so let's see. I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and try out number 10 on your own as a practice problem. So go ahead, plot those points and these original points here, and then go ahead and do your translation and see what you get. Number 11, go ahead, try that one out on your own. And number 12, go ahead and try that one out. So to end this, I just want to do number 12 with you, just to make sure you know you're doing it correctly. So let's plot these original points first. Okay, original points, F, G, H, and I. Let's start with F here. It looks like it's at 1, 0. Okay, that means we're going to +1 on the X, 0 on the Y. We're not going up or down. So right there, that's where F is. Okay, G is at 2, 3, to the right 2, up 3. G. H is at 4, 1, to the right 4, up 1. And I is at 4, -1, to the right 4, down 1. Alrighty, so there is my shape, my original shape. Okay, now we're just doing the translation. Going up here, it looks like we're subtracting a number from x, so that means we're moving in the left direction. So we're going to go left 5. Nothing is being added or subtracted to y, so that means we're going up or down 0. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. We're just going left 5 with all 4 of these points. So I'm going to start with a G. The left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the way, one thing to point out: some people, when they move, they want to do this instead of starting with this and being 1 and then 2 and then 3, 4, 5. Some people want to do this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and actually only go 4 units. So be careful with making that mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units is right there. Okay, so there's G prime. Okay, H to the left, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 0. There's H prime. I to the left, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 0. And F to the left, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 0. Right, and there is my translation. Cool. So let me see. Yeah. Cool. So that is it, everybody. Hopefully you are realizing, oh, translations, those are actually really simple. I like those. Maybe you don't like them, but they're simple. I'm hoping you're feeling that way. So yeah, we will eventually be moving on to, like I said, rotations and reflections. So it'll get a little bit more interesting. But yeah, that's our first type of transformation, translations. Okay, guys, I'll see you.